right, we will call the meeting to order, and I believe we have a quorum. We do, Mary. Yes, we do. Okay, good. Thank you. Does anybody have any conflict of interest to declare? Hearing none, I will give a moment here. Then, let's get through the minutes. The action on the minutes of April 24th. We need approval of those minutes, please. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second over here. Okay. But a motion by Rich and a second. Tom? Got it? Okay. Any further questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Do we have any public comment? Anybody wishing to make public comments?
Just real quick. Welcome to Fayette County. I know my fellow two commissioners already talked a little bit, but welcome to Fayette County, the best county there is. No boo. But it's always good to have everyone here, and SBC being here is great. I know we've been with them several times over the last couple of months here. It's always good to have them here, and to host today is wonderful. So thank you very much all for all of you coming, and enjoy the time. Thanks.
Well, with that said, you jumped right in, Dave, because that's what I was going to do next. We'll turn it over to the commissioners for introduction, then particularly on our guest presentations. So do you want to, either one of you, Scott or Vince, want to add a welcome and introduce our guest?
For a third time. Welcome to Fayette County. We're proud of our facilities and our business park here. It's a good opportunity for the region to see this and what we have to offer. Thank you for coming, and we I hope to have a productive meeting here today, and enjoy the scenery of Fayette County. Thank you.
And they always make me go laugh, so I have to say ditto to what they said. But we have world-class outdoor amenities in Fayette County. Don't be a stranger. Come on back as a visitor and as a tourist. And we hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Here. Thank you for hosting and for the wonderful food. And I guess we'll hear from the caterer before time's up. But next on the agenda, we're going to go first, I think, to Laura, right? Thanks. Well, right. Thank you again. And I will welcome you another time to Fayette County. Thank you, commissioners. I'm Laura Hughes. I am the director of the Fayette Economic Development Council, which is the certified economic development organization. We're pleased to work so closely with Mark Grateful as the county's economic coordinator, development coordinator, and the commissioners. I just finished my 1-year anniversary with Fayette, and I must say it really has been exhilarating because there is so much going on here in southwestern VA. So we're thrilled to have you come and kind of hear about that a little bit. We say together, we're raising the region. That's what we're trying to do here. And thanks for being in our park. If you drive down a little ways, you'll see an expansion going on at AAC. That's a defense subcontractor to the U.S. Navy. It's their third expansion. It's just one example of the many projects we work on. So I always like to remind people, including our own board sometimes, of our mission, which is really to stimulate all phases of economic development in this county. So Commissioner Dunn mentioned the recreation and tourism. That's something we're really focusing on. We're also I come from a background of redevelopment and working with aging communities in northern West Virginia, working with historic assets, reusing those as new business sites and sites for residents. So that's one of the things we're really trying to implement here. We're also looking at all the community facilities, looking at things like the airport and what we can do there. And really just preserving the natural beauty and all the assets we have here. We have some of the amazing cultural resource sites you'll know about, not just the outdoor recreation, but historic sites, sport necessities. We really do get national attention. And by the way, Falling Water, I think many of you may know this, was just named the most loved property or something in the country. So we're proud to have that. But anyway, it all just contributes to our mission, which is really to improve all these things. One of the other things we're really focused on with Faith and working again with the county is housing. Because frankly, if we can't house people, why are we attracting new business? So that's something we have to pay serious attention to here. So I just put up one project slide, and then I want to just to show some of the things that we've been working on in the years since I've been here. Appalachian Regional Commission, I know you all know, came out with this new ARISE program. It's a multi-state initiative. I just happen to have a couple of partners in Western Maryland and West Virginia. So we looked at Fayette County taking the lead on what we're calling our PATH project. That is the Partnership for Appalachian Trails and Heritage. We have the GAT, we have the sheepskin that we want to expand. We have all these other amenities. One gentleman mentioned he's from Connellsville. We're focusing some of this, an offshoot of this, with a major planning grant we submitted to DOT for a bridge part in Connellsville. So that's something, again, we're working very closely with the county. I just want to emphasize that we're right there in the middle of like the connection, really, literally 4,000 miles of trails in the Midwest. So that's not something to take lightly. And we're planning a lot of other projects. But anyway, that's just a sample of something we've been working on. The other thing I've tried to do in my time here is really increase the amount of federal funding in Fayette County. We're working closely with our congressional delegation because, frankly, we had the benefit of a lot of defense and other projects here, courtesy of former Congressman Murtha, the late Congressman Murtha. And we're pleased that we have such a strong delegation that they, on both sides, want to carry on some of the great projects. So that's just my brief. Again, welcome. Thanks for coming. And feel free to contact us if you ever have news in Fayette. It's pretty impressive. Thank you. All right. Now we have Republic Food Enterprises, Lisa Greer, Marketing Manager, and Joe Ambrose.
I'm Joe.
We heard a little bit about you earlier because we were enjoying this wonderful food. And by the way, the portobello's to die for. Just
we need to stop. Chef. Hi, my name is Joe Ambrose, and I'm the General Manager of Republic Food Enterprise Center. And we're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we specialize in farm to table and also value added. Value added is we take product from a farmer and we create a jarred product from it, and it creates value to that product and gives the farmer a second source of revenue, and also throughout growing season gives them the opportunity to keep their markets open by selling value added products, sauces, salsas, any jarred product we can make. We're certified. We're an FDA certified cannery. We deal with farmers all through southwestern Pennsylvania, Maryland, and West Virginia. We deal with, I don't know if anybody's here from Indiana County, Yarnix in Indiana County. We make all their products. Fayette County too does. So we have a large array of farmers that we deal with throughout southwestern Pennsylvania.
So, and we also manufacture our own sauces and rubs and product for Republic to sell also. Like he said, it's one of the farm to table things where these farmers have such a short window of growth and we're able to stretch their product into the fall and into the winter. We've been processing tomatoes from Yarnix since January. He's grown them in his high tunnels. So we've been making sauces and salsas and things for him all year. So it's a good thing to be able to help them, help us. So.
And then you cater as well.
We do cater. The catering is not a large part of what we do, but we do offer catering. We try to utilize as much from the farmer as possible. This time of year it's getting a little better, but still kind of tough to get everything we need from a farmer this time.
So how does that work with the financial farmer?
So we go to the farmer, tell them what we need, and give us a price, and we purchase it from them. And then when we make a product from them, we have a sheet. It's called a job order cost sheet. There's how much material we have in it, how much labor we have in it. We come to a dollar amount, and then we charge per unit to that farmer per jar. So
and then they take it and sell it.
They take it.
It's more of a wholesale thing from our end, and then they're paying about retail side on their end, markets and things like that.
And there's a few things we do differently. We don't have a lot of canneries have like a 300-gallon batch. We don't have one. We'll make you 30 gallons because we want to help that small farmer as well that it can't afford to grow all this at one time. And we can also do, so let's say a batch is 3 bushel and a farmer, it might take them 3 weeks to get 3 bushel, but they can get a bushel a week. We'll put them in our freezer for them, no charge, and then run it once we get enough product.
Does anyone have any questions for our friends?
Is that recall? Did you apply for ARC funding? We did get approved. We had ARC funding. It was prior to the pandemic, right? But yes, it was through Fayette County Community Action Association.
I remember the project.
Yeah, we're under the same umbrella as Fayette County. Like the old saying, same church, different people.
It's great.
I'm sorry, maybe you said that. Where do we find your products that you sell?
So you can go on our website. We also do an online farmers market. It's called Market Wagon. It's been a really great resource for us. It's they're based in Allegheny County, but it gives us we can reach a larger broad audience through Allegheny County, and also get that dollar more than what we can get here. We can get on Market Wagon just because it's in Allegheny County. It's great. The food bank is also in our building as well, the Fayette County Food Bank. So we have a great partnership with the Fayette County Food Bank. They come to us throughout the summer and we get fresh produce for them. We've also got cows and pigs that we've had slaughtered for them and they gave out of their food pantries. We also did a project this winter where they got apples donated from the Bruderhof community in Farmington. We made apple butter out of it and then they gave it out.
We also do frozen soups for them. They'll buy anywhere between 250, 300 quarts of soup at a time. We sell a lot of that on Market Wagon in Pittsburgh, but then they'll utilize us too for that. Then they'll go to a senior distribution and hand that out.
Or Meals on Wheels.
Meals on Wheels.
So it's been a really great partnership with the food bank. They're getting a lot of fresh produce from farmers that normally they would not have. Any questions?
Very impressive. Thank you both. Wow.
It does.
Thank you so much. That is awesome. I'm going to be thinking about that the whole way home. And Mr. Geyer, I hope you were paying attention to that. Oh my goodness. Okay. We will now go, I guess, to the reports on the comment period from Dom on the LTRP.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for allowing me to present on one of our most important work products, the Long Range Plan. We started this process about a year ago, and we're proud to bring it to you today for adoption. The presentation will cover many of the key aspects of the Long Range Plan development, such as schedule, the review of the plan's policies and strategies, and public engagement. Then we will cover the plan's investments, federal requirements of air quality conformity and environmental justice, and then finish up by touching on some of the progress that we are making at implementing the strategies within the plan. Next slide. So since we last met with you in April, we have completed our air quality conformity analysis and have assembled and distributed the document and placed it on our website. We've had a 30-day public comment period from May 9th to June 11th. During those 30 days, we held one meeting in each county and one meeting with the city of Pittsburgh, a total of 11 meetings, 4 of them virtual, 7 of them in person. We also collected and responded to each public comment made to the plan. That's over 100 comments. More details on some of that public involvement toward the end of this presentation. Next slide. The transportation planning process goes through various steps in the cycle to produce the Transportation Improvement Program, the TIP, and the Long Range Plan. The Transportation Improvement Program is a 4-year plan of projects that are active or about to be active that has a major update every 2 years. So 4-year plan gets updated every 2 years. The Long Range Plan is a 25-year plan that requires an update every 4 years. Next slide. So this Long Range Plan update utilizes the efforts of the previous 2019 plan as a basis. If you recall, the 2019 plan used an extensive process that included expert resource panels, public surveys, and public outreach to develop the region's vision, goals, and strategies. Most of what was developed in terms of vision, goals, and strategies is still relevant for this plan. Our policy committee, commissioners, and county planners reviewed the previous vision, goals, and strategies, and we have updated them based on their feedback. We also have feedback from the public process from the last tip that we rolled out earlier last year. Two major events have happened since the last time we did this in 2019. We are emerging from COVID-19 and dealing with its impacts on transportation and the economy, and namely transit. And we have the new transportation bill, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, IIJA, that has provided us additional funding in the short term. The revised vision statement, as you see it on the screen there, a world-class, safe, well-maintained, and connected multimodal transportation system that provides mobility for all, empowers resilient and sustainable communities, and supports a globally competitive economy. The regional vision means taking advantage of our considerable existing assets and developing, supporting, and implementing projects and programs that advance our progress. Transportation connects people to life's activities, and opportunity. This plan is about creating and connecting people to opportunity. The opportunity can be physical, tangible connections like improved regional transit or enhanced broadband connectivity. The opportunity can create connections to training for the jobs of the future and allow the region's workforce to have family-sustaining job opportunities in new and emerging industries, as well as investing in strategies that protect our environment and address our resilience. Next slide, please. The long-range plan is a long-term view of transportation investments in our region out to the year 2050. Within this time frame, a conservative estimate of the revenue that is reasonably expected to be available is developed. Projects put on the plan cannot exceed this amount and what's referred to as fiscal constraint. The time frame is broken down into 3 stages, with the tip, the 4-year tip being the first stage, and funds are assigned to each stage. Here were the focus areas for investment for the fiscally constrained long-range plan. Asset management and safety continue to be key focus areas for the region. With additional federal funds for bridges under IIJA, we have a significant number of new bridge projects listed in the long-range plan. Continuing the progress that we have made in reducing the number of poor condition bridges, the progress that we've made in the last 10 years. As always, transit operations and facilities were another key area for investment. The long-range plan work groups, which included your county planners, reviewed all candidate projects with these focus areas in mind. Then working versions of the long-range plan fiscally constrained project list are developed and discussed. The process was collaborative and consensus-driven in order to come to the version of the current project list we see in the plan. Next slide, please. First up here on the screen are the highway and bridge investments, then I'll touch on transit. This graph shows the investment breakdown by investment category, anticipating about $12.7 billion out to year 2050. Bridges continue to receive the highest percentage of investment. We still have work to do. That percentage is about 44% of the money, followed by roadways at 32%. You can see that safety, efficiency, and operations and SPC competitive programs also receive a significant slice of the investment. SPC competitive programs, which are transportation alternatives, CMAQ, which is congestion management and air quality, carbon reduction program, a new program from IIJA, and smart transportation account for approximately 9% of the investment. Individual projects are evaluated and selected on a 2-year cycle, consistent with our TIP development process. Next slide, please. One of the other key characteristics of the long-range plan highway bridge investment is its focus on major corridors. These are all routes on the national highway system that performance condition is monitored and reported to our federal highway funders. You can see in this list some of the major corridors in every county receiving major investment in this plan. Next slide, please. The long-range plan also includes revenue projections, investments, and projects on the transit side. Here's a graph showing the regional investments in transit out to year 2050. Large investment in operating and maintenance, of course, with key transit investments in facilities and vehicles, including electrification. Next slide, please. With this slide, I just wanted to mention, this is a slide that comes out of Pittsburgh Regional Transit's long-range plan. I wanted to mention here and highlight for you that some of the long-range planning going on at PRT will have regional impacts. In the long term, East Busway phased extensions could improve transit connections to Westmoreland County. There's also a study underway by PennDOT and PRT to look at alignments for rapid transit to the airport. That project could improve transit connections to Beaver County and beyond. Next slide. As many of you know, the interstate program is managed statewide out of PennDOT Central Office in Harrisburg. So the funding and projects we've been discussing up till now doesn't include the major interstate projects. Nonetheless, we include the current interstate program in the appendix of our plan. Shown here are the major investments projected in the plan for I-79, I-70, and I-376. We also work with each PennDOT district to put together a list of unfunded interstate needs. Region-wide, there is an identified unfunded interstate need when you look at the long term of $2.2 billion. Next slide, please. So other required elements of our long-range plan include population and employment forecasts. Our forecasts project the growth in both when looking at the entire region out to year 2050. Transportation performance management. These have to do with how we're performing with regard to bridge and road condition, safety, travel reliability, and air quality. Air quality conformity, that answers the question, does our proposed plan meet the Federal Clean Air Act regulations? Environmental justice, that answers the question, are the benefits and burdens of our plan equitably distributed? And of course, we're required to coordinate our efforts with many other agencies, for example, regulatory, environmental resource, and cultural resource agencies like the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. Next slide, please. Environmental justice. Okay. The draft long-range plan projects list were further evaluated for burdens and benefits to low-income, minority, and other potentially disadvantaged populations, which included an analysis of financial investment, access to transportation infrastructure, pedestrian and bicycle safety, and paved and bridge conditions. The conclusion of our environmental justice analysis indicates that projects identified in our draft long-range plan demonstrates that benefits of the program projects and total investment of resources are equitable to populations who are traditionally or have the potential to be disadvantaged in the planning process. Furthermore, no population groups were found to be disproportionately or adversely affected by the implementation of our draft plan. Next slide, please. Air quality conformity. This slide here is for ozone. Conformity determinations for transportation plans and programs are based as appropriate on build or no build analysis and comparisons to an emissions budget. For the Pittsburgh Beaver Valley ozone area, the charts on the right refer to the EPA ozone standard. The graph on the top is nitrogen oxides, a byproduct of fuel combustion. The graph on the bottom is volatile organic compounds, mostly unburned gas from the tailpipe. For both graphs, the top line is the motor vehicle emission budget approved for our area for the type of emission here, which is ozone in tons per day. The bottom line is the emission projection out the year 2050. Conformity is demonstrated if the emission projection is lower than budget. The graphs do show that this is the case for our draft plan. Next slide, please. This is particulate matter. Map on the left shows the Pittsburgh Beaver Valley particulate matter area. The term fine particles or particulate matter refer to tiny particles or droplets in the air that are 2.5 microns or less in width. The graph on the top are the precursor particulate matter emissions, the nitrogen oxides, which are again a byproduct of fuel combustion. The graph on the bottom are the particles with diameter less than particulate matter. The particles with diameter less than 2.5 microns. That's your tire wear, your brake wear, and your fuel combustion products, byproducts, I should say. Both graphs, the top line again is the motor vehicle emission budget. The bottom line is the emission projection on the year 2050. The graphs do show that conformity is demonstrated. The emission projection is lower than the budget. In conclusion, our draft plan is in conformance with the Federal Clean Air Act. And now I'm going to turn it over to Caitlin O'Connor and Ron McCraig, our communication team, and they're going to talk about the public engagement efforts for this plan.
Thanks, Don. So yeah, we're going to recap in regards to the public meeting and also the comments. We worked directly with the commissioners along with their staff, planners, and panelists. We chose things such as the meeting locations. In some cases, we actually chose new locations this year because we outgrew our old locations. So also we worked hand in hand with them for virtual versus in-person meetings in which work best for them. Also like to shout out to thank you to the panelists for joining us at the public meetings. We definitely had an increase in the panelist participation this time around. Numerous organizations helped in getting the word out, the public meetings, and also the public comment period. We reached out to 72 libraries, along with cultural organizations such as the Jewish Family and Community Services, and community service providers such as transit agencies and also human services providers. And they also make up some of the panels within the counties. It was a busy couple months, May and June. We all were very busy with the public meetings. We held 7 in-person meetings and 4 virtual ones. We started with a virtual meeting on May 11th with Beaver County, and we went on an in-person run for several different counties. And then we ended on a virtual note at Allegheny County on June the 8th. The public comment period was from May 11th to June 9th.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Caitlin, comms director here. So we'll just touch really quickly. We just want to give you guys an example of some of the outreach that we did to make the public aware. You probably know it's really hard to get people out to meetings and hard to get people out since COVID. So we always try to operate from the PESO model. It's paid media, earned media, shared media, and owned media. It's kind of a little acronym. But we placed 12 legal ads as we need to do to make people aware of it. We also did one online with a Latino publication that covers Western Pennsylvania. In terms of earned media, we secured 18 total news stories on 2 TV. You'll see a shot. Tom won't like me doing this, but we have a shot of Dom being interviewed by channel WPXI, Channel 11. And we really try to strategize from like a hyper local perspective. You know, there's some larger papers and our 3 TV stations, obviously, but each county, you know, we have our own papers, and that's where people get the community news. So the Indiana Gazette, right, the Observer Reporter, all papers that we're reading every day, and then, you know, the community is reading. So we proactively reached out and pitched all the reporters. So 2 TV, 13 online or newspapers, depending on how the format was, and then 3 radio stories. The other thing, just very briefly, I want to say thank you to everyone, especially those of you online who helped us execute something that we haven't done before. We put together a social media toolkit to try to get the word out. A lot of people get their news right from social, from traditional media. We try to hit it from every angle. So all of your PPP members that serve for your counties, they were really instrumental. They took our toolkit and we had draft language and draft images for them, and they helped spread the word. Separate from that, we also did our own content. So we were posting Facebook events, Facebook posts, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and just really trying to spread the word. But I do want to say thank you because a lot of your PPP members that you guys have appointed to serve took our toolkits and they helped us get the word out, which they're voices of authority, they're well-respected members in their community. So when they are putting out that ask and they're helping to share the word, it always helps. And then in terms of owned media, just very quickly, we kept track of our website views, specific pages. I won't tell you whose county had the most hits versus others on the event. Later, but we did keep track of that. And our event page, where we kept everything, and then the LRTP page, we have a lot of views on there throughout that public comment period. And then we also put it out in our newsletter. And if anyone's curious, the number at the bottom, that's how many subscribers we have. In terms of, again, just very briefly, getting the word out, it was really helpful to go in every direction. The old adage used to be, you have to tell someone 7 times for them to remember. It's now over 40 times. So there's just a lot of white noise and a lot of information. So we know that working with you guys, it was a very big effort with us, and we just are really appreciative and helping you guys help us spread the word. Just very quickly, the 2-part goal for us was not just to get people out to meetings. If they couldn't come, we're busy, they have kids, right? People are working. We wanted them to submit public comments. And so we did get a lot of public comments, and Ron's going to touch on that really briefly.
So we had over roughly 239 participants, and that number includes PennDOT staff. So one thing that I did wanted to do a little bit different. Sorry, I know this wasn't part of the plan, but next time is that the sign-in sheet, because I think sometimes that people or folks that came did not sign in. So definitely want to improve on that and have make sure maybe somebody sits there and has somebody or has everybody sign in.
Just 1 second. So there are copies here. If anybody wants it, there's not enough for everyone, but if anybody wants a copy of the public comments, they are here.
Yeah, if you all, the email that everyone received at the end of last week, that had the attachment for the public comments. You also got it emailed to you. There were over 100 plus public comments, and they were received in various ways. We were able to collect handwritten public comments in the in-person meetings, such as Lawrence, Indiana, and Fayette. We had 36 comments emailed to the comments at spcregion.org inbox. And some of those comments that were emailed, they might have had like 5 different comments. So, if you're wanting to add up the numbers, they're not going to add up because of that. We received 31 comments through the online SurveyMonkey comment portal, and we were able to collect 21 evaluation forms in regards to how folks felt about the public meetings organization, also materials that were covered, etc. Definitely follow up with all the commissioners to do a wrap-up meeting in the future. Again, I would like to thank everyone for a very successful long-range transportation plan public meetings and comment season. And I look forward to working with you all everybody in the future. And we definitely could not have done this without you. So thank you, everyone. Yeah, thank you. And I would just say, if you guys are flipping through the booklet, you'll see we have it broken down by county. You're particularly interested in the comments from your county. There were some people who were, extremely thoughtful. So if you get a chance, take a look at their comments. They had some really good ideas. It was a big team effort from our transportation team led by Dawn to sort through and figure out how they get the best response. What is the response? And then separately, there are a few folks who wrote into us with just a couple words and didn't really have like a full explanation. You could tell they had something on their mind, but they just didn't go into detail. So you'll see we're responding to them and asking them for more information. And that way we can follow up and make sure we get them a really thorough response. But if you see that on there, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll turn it off. Yeah, 1 second. I just want to add that, I was looking through these, and first of all, Allegheny is always, we always have great commentary, but I think Fayette County gets the award because for a small county, you've had a lot of comments in here. So you must have done great outreach, because I told Vince earlier, I think they should get an award for having the most comments from a smaller county. Public comment, but I think it's great. So congratulations to Fayette for that work.
Okay, I'm going to take us down the home stretch here and talk about some of the progress that we've made on strategy implementation. Workforce development, and this is more of Jen's territory. The region was awarded, as you all know, a $60 million Build Back Better grant. The SPC is the project lead for workforce portion of it. This will involve regional university and colleges implementing work readiness and technology training into the curriculum and working with our workforce investment boards and partners to increase opportunities for underserved populations and remove barriers to education. Next slide, please. Some of the progress on infrastructure, we are working with regional partners on energy diversification projects such as solar, carbon capture, natural gas, hydrogen hub. As many of you know, Team Pennsylvania submitted the regional hydrogen hub application for southwestern Pennsylvania. Next slide, please. Technology, a connectivity improvement plan was created to look at providing affordable, reliable broadband internet access across the region. And we did host a regional broadband summit that many of you attended as well. Next slide, please. Progress on sustainable and resilient community strategies. We've held workshops for local governments on local project delivery, how to deliver a project with federal funds, and local bridge funding mechanisms, how to get funding for your local bridge. We've dedicated funding in the TIP and long-range plan for landslide remediation, which we know is a growing problem. We've assisted counties in allocating over $17 million, thanks to Jen's team, in COVID-19 hospitality industry recovery program, the CHIRP funding. We've expanded SPC's Water Resource Center programming and local technical assistance. We've hired a dedicated environmental programs manager to expand SPC environmental programs, including sustainability and resiliency. Next slide, please. And continuing on community-based strategies and implementation, we're leading the region's planning for the EPA Climate Pollution Reduction Grant Program. Many of you have heard some of these in the past meetings about some of this. We're leading that CPRG program with a broad coalition of partners and stakeholders. We've created an online toolkit for the charging and fueling infrastructure discretionary funding program. We continue to program federal CMAQ eligible projects that provide the greatest benefit to regional air quality and really important in terms of community livability. We'll begin to allocate the new federal carbon reduction program, as I mentioned previously. And we'll begin implementing that and administrating that this summer. So with that, I'll just open it for any questions.
Any questions from anyone? Been working on this for quite a while, so hopefully by now we've all fallen into line. Okay, thanks. With that said, it sounds like the next two resolutions are related to this. So, and Andy, is there anything else that we need to add here?
No, just the conformity resolution that's listed has to go first.
Okay.
That's all. And they need two separate actions.
Okay. All right. So we'll take resolution 523 first. Anything to add to that? Want to explain it?
Yeah, this is just based on our analysis that our plan meets the Clean Air Act. So we have to adopt the resolution that says that.
That was based on that. Can you remind us once again what the non-conforming and conforming as the areas are defined in that? It says, did it define non-conformity areas and conformity areas? What was the wording?
There's conformity areas and maintenance areas.
Okay.
So the non-conformity areas are the areas that
Why don't we go back?
If you go back on the slide for a moment,
That's right on there.
we do this and I have to be, it's helpful to be reminded.
go back one more.
Yeah.
So this one, the blue is the Pittsburgh Beaver Valley non-attainment area.
Non-attainment, that's what I wanted.
Non-attainment.
I'm sorry, not conformity, attains.
So, and again, there is non-attainment as of now of those those pollutants.
Clearfield, Indiana maintenance areas.
The maintenance areas are in.
Okay. Got it.
Then next slide, please. And then the next one is just kind of the pig areas. Those are the non-attainment PM 2.5. Then you see kind of the special area down there, Liberty, Claire, to be in areas centered around the middle.
The conformity is based on the attainment one.
Well, the conformity is based on the projection being less than the EPA budgets. So EPA sets the budgets for pollutants into the future based on current legislation, and we have to test our investments to make sure that they don't exceed those budgets.
All right, with that, but we have a motion then to adopt Resolution 523 on air conformity determination.
Or Macy, make a motion.
Make a motion.
Let's take, who was online there?
Bob Mason was on.
Bob? Okay, thank you. And then I'll take
Great job.
as your second. Okay, thank you. Is there anything else? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We'll move on to Resolution 623, then to adopt the long-range plan, transportation plan. We have a motion to adopt Resolution 623.
So move.
Motion by long-range plan in the tip. Seems to sometimes confuse people, but it's good that we've had that opportunity. Somebody out there want to weigh in? Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, all that said, then we move to action on Resolution 723 to adopt the Safe Street for All grant application. Josh?
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Kaylee, you go to the next slide if you don't mind. So my name is Josh Laspano. I'm the manager of transportation operation and safety programs here at SBC under Don DeAndrea's direction here. So a little bit about the Safe Streets and Roads for All, better known as the SS4A grant program. It was established under the bipartisan infrastructure law a few years back. The purpose is really to improve roadway safety by significantly reducing or eliminating roadway fatalities and serious injuries on our roadways. There's approximately $5 billion available over 5 years, $1 billion per fiscal year. So $1 billion for this fiscal year, and it requires a 20% match. There's two real avenues with the program here. The implementation grant, which seeks to construct a detailed strategy or project from a qualified safety action plan. The second is a planning grant, which is the creation or update of a plan that identifies locations and strategies in order to seek funding in the future. Last year, you may recall Dan Allwine gave a presentation on our application last year. $41 million across our 10-county region. I think it was about 40 different projects. Unfortunately, we were unsuccessful in that application. Based on our debrief with Federal Highway Administration, we found out it was a bit too large of a scope, not enough details in our application. And reviewing that and reviewing some of the feedback, successful applications had a lot of different details, analysis, including preliminary engineering and some design work for some of their applications, and really honed in on a specific corridor or food blocks in a specific area, particularly in an urban location. Next slide, please. So based on our feedback, reviewing the successful applications and working with our local planning partners, we decided to develop what's called a pilot comprehensive safety action plan for Allegheny County. This will be a pilot program and plan in creation of a Vision Zero plan for the county. It'll involve a high level of detail and analysis to decrease or eliminate fatalities and serious injuries on our roadways. And once completed, will be a template for our remaining 9 counties in our SPC region. So why Allegheny County? Oh, go back one more. Sorry. So why Allegheny County? Looking at the data, in the year 2021, the SPC region saw about 22,000 total crashes within our region. Allegheny County accounted for over half of that, 11,733. Based on the data as well, Allegheny County experienced 465 serious injury crashes, which makes up approximately 45% of the region's total. And last but not least, 68 fatalities on Allegheny County roadways, making up about a third of our roadways. Also speaking in identifying some of the costs associated with a planned development like this, based on the scale, the complexity of the roadways within Allegheny County and involvement with the city of Pittsburgh, significant investment is needed to obtain the level of analysis and details for future federal and state money. Next slide, please. So the way we'll approach this, like I mentioned before, will be a Vision Zero plan. It'll really be done in 4 different parts or 4 different components of the plan. First being analysis. You'll see we'll encompass all modes of transportation. So transit, bike, ped, single occupancy vehicles, etc. It will encompass municipal roads, county roads, and state roads. We all know that state roads make up a large portion of where our funding goes, but we don't want to leave behind the municipal and county-owned roads as well. And incorporate a lot of different data, reviewing the historical trends, existing conditions, and crash data associated with our various roadways. Second will be equity, which is a large component of the federal application. We'll be reviewing population statistics, conducting equity impact assessments, as well as utilizing the metrics found in our EJ report that Dawn previously mentioned, as well as the metrics of Justice 40. There will also be a public engagement and outreach component to this. So a few public meetings involving our stakeholders, private sector, elected officials, and community groups as well to provide their input. And last but not least, the outcomes. So a list of strategies, projects, and top locations based on roadway ownership, as well as renderings, planning level costs, and data to all set us up for not only state funds, but federal funds in the near future. Next slide, please. So I won't go over everything here, but just want to highlight what the plan will essentially do for us as a region. Basically capitalizing on any future safety funds, so the ability to go after and have the necessary details and data to go after implementation grant at the federal level, also setting us up better to capitalize on HSIP funds at the state level. Improving safety and mobility for vulnerable road users. And when we talk about vulnerable road users, persons with disabilities, persons over 65, persons under 16, just to name a few there. And then last but not least, utilizing the data to drive us into the prioritized locations, but also utilizing our public outreach and input with our community members to where data doesn't really tell us the full story, and sometimes data doesn't tell the full story as well. So utilizing both avenues to understand where improvements could be made. So with that being said, any questions before we take action? And my partner, I shouldn't say Lily Gabretti, she's not here today, but she's our manager of sponsor program development. She's assisting in this as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me or know. Andy.
Just want to reiterate one of the points here. I mean, this is going to be used as a template and a model for the remainder of the region. It doesn't mean that this is our only effort. This is looking at the complexities of the county and the city, this is going to be the most costly and complex plan of this type for the region. So we thought that this would be a good pilot project to be able to, get federal money and bring some consultants in to do this and help us with this and set the rest of the region up for plans that are basically the same but tailored to each of the counties that they'll also be able to use and we'll be able to use, and our friends at the districts will be able to use to pursue initiative. Just wanted to make that point.
If I may also,
Good sense.
we took a stab at this last year. We included over 40 projects, a lot of money across 10 counties, the whole region. And we were basically told that's too big. You got to focus on one. Most of the folks that were awarded implementation grants, well, it was one corridor.
Right.
Okay. So, I think this is going to be a better approach for us. Our safety plan was a qualified plan, but I think we have a better chance with this approach in order to get some funds into the region for this kind of pilot.
Okay. And with that said, does anybody have any questions for them before we move to the resolution to adopt?
Yeah.
With the application. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Where's the local share come from? The local share to match
20%.
Where's it coming from?
Well, we're going to be talking with the county and the city and
Okay. Good question.
Scott.
This is Scott.
Okay, go ahead.
I think staff knows is supportive of this effort. I want the other commissioners to know that, and just to give some important context around this. That Vision Zero is about declaring. Sorry, there's a lot of that's really messing with my train of thought. Hold on one second. Okay. Jeez. Okay. Well, anyway, something's going on where I'm getting a lot of feedback. The important context here. Sorry, what was that?
I was just going to say, if you have more, are you with more than one person that's on the call?
No.
Okay.
The important context here is that Vision Zero declaration that the only acceptable number of fatalities and serious injuries is zero. It's a very bold action plan to reach zero. You can see by the number of injuries crashes that we have in the county. But I'm very supportive. I think you can do it. And I'm excited to take part in this. And the other part of the context that I think is really important for people to know is that people will always make mistakes using our roads. Those mistakes should not be deadly. So thank you for your heading this and we get on that.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else? And with that, I guess we'll call for the motion on action on resolution number 723 to adopt the Safe Street for All grant application. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Anything further? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, and finally, I think we're down to Vincent and the adopting the meeting schedule.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, we're looking for support to adopt our meeting schedule for FY 2023-24. It's a 6 meeting agenda or 6 meeting schedule starting on August 28th, October 23rd,
We also would meet on December 11th, sorry, February 26th, April 22nd, and June 24th. We're very grateful to Butler County, Armstrong County, and Fayette County for hosting us at some of our meetings, and we'd very much like to do that in the coming year. Go out to counties, have those meetings there, but this would be our 6th meeting schedule for the next.
Any questions on that? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adopt the schedule?
So moved. Second.
Larry, Pat? Anything further? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Everybody just, when we do that, and opposed, yeah. Can you guys try that again in harmony, please? All right. Hearing no, motion carries. Thank you. Oh, gosh. Good thing you can laugh at something. All right. Well, that said, we're going to move to Vincent's comments for the talking about our new space, I think. And want to say, again, thank you to the staff for incredible work. And it's really great to see the cohesiveness and the planning process. And this will just top off, all of the work that you've done with this team. And bringing them together and really making us a sound and solid organization. So excited to see what comes up in this report.
Thank you. Yes, and thank you, Kate. You can see the photo. We're very excited because we're finally there. I've been saying all along, we're almost there. We're finally there. We're moving in on July 17th. Yeah, as you can see from the pictures here, I think the facilities really do kind of represent the new SLC. It's a very collaborative space. It's an open space. It's a very modern and streamlined space. We've gone from 28,000 square feet down to an efficiently used 18,000 square feet in a very dynamic part of Pittsburgh, a very dynamic part of the city. You can see we've got this green wall coming in, which kind of represents, I think, kind of a fresh approach. And we've got these garage doors in our kitchen area that are going to open up and bring in fresh air or whatever fresh air passes for the strip district.
This air quality is conforming.
Yes. Non-attainment area, but
yes, it's a non-attainment, but it conforms.
Yes. And what you'll see when you come to the facility, we're having an open house sometime in late summer or early fall. So I encourage everybody on the call and here in the room to come by the offices for that open house and really get a sense as to what the space represents. But it's really a very warm, inviting, collaborative space that really does invite that kind of coalescing of ideas, which is super important to SBC and to the region as an organization, as partners. So again, I think what you'll see is that people will want to come here as opposed to the previous facilities where I think it's hard to invite folks over and get people to come. We really do want to go back to physical meetings as much as possible. So hopefully this will be enough of an enticement as well as the neighborhood. This is City's asked where is Willie's? Well, it's about 3 blocks away, nearby, and there are plenty of great coffee houses and places to just come by and enjoy the SBC. So again, we're thankful to all of you and to all of our stakeholders for being patient with us. I really want to call out Margaret and Mary and Kirk for really leading the attack on us. They really were there pretty much every day. They made this happen. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Kirk. Thank you, Margaret. This really is the cherry on top of the Sunday. So we're super excited.
Especially love the psychedelic carpet.
Yeah, and you can't really see it here, but the light fixture is basically a continuous light fixture that goes through the facility, and it's a road. It has intersections, curves, that was custom made, and you can see it kind of represents a transportation system. We're looking at naming the conference room, so we're trying to figure out what we're going to name the people name them Allegheny Room and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We're trying to be a little bit more creative, so we're still kind of trying to figure that out. But there'll be you're not seeing it here, but to the
We need a roundabout, just saying.
to the right of this photo with the sofa and the two chairs, there's the wall that you first see as you're coming into the facilities. The entrance is on this side here. That's going to be a three-dimensional map, and it's backlit of the entire region. So each of the counties will appear in relief and be backlit and in kind of a modern gray. So you'll see at a shot what the SBC region is. The SBC logo will be in the back. So again, a very kind of a modern approach to design, but also very, very kind of economical and spare. We didn't go whole hog on any of it. This was really kind of representative of a modern public organization.
Very good.
So again, for everyone on the call and here in the room, we'll have that open house sometime late in the summer, early fall, once we've been able to move in and set in a hotel. And I encourage everybody to come by.
Street party out there on that deck.
Oh, yeah.
Great timing. Very good. Okay. Is there anything else for the good?
Just our next meeting is, as I mentioned earlier, August 28th. Looking forward to seeing everyone there. I believe it'll be in our new facility, so
That'll be exciting.
It'll be inaugural.
Okay. I have no other business, and it is 5:15, so I'd like to try to get everybody back to where they need to go this evening. Does anybody have anything else for the good of the order?
Please take food.
We will. Don't ask twice. All right. Thank you again, Fayette, for hosting us, and commissioners for hosting us here, and for the wonderful.
Thank you, guys.
Food and the presentation. It was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you all for your participation. I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second, Boozle.
Thanks, Kevin and Hacha. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.